My fiancé said, "You're not man enough to handle my independence." I replied, "You're right." Then I filed for divorce and moved her mom into our guest room. Her lawyer called me laughing when he saw the paperwork. Olivia, my fiancée, raised her glass at our engagement party, the one I dropped $30,000 on. She started the toast normally, thanking everyone for coming. Then she turned her eyes to me. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Here's to escaping the fragile male ego," she said, her voice dripping with implication. "Some men just can't handle a successful woman." The chatter died. Everyone was looking at me. I held her gaze, let a small smile touch my lips. "You're absolutely right," I replied, my voice calm, clear in the sudden silence. Under the table unseen, I pulled out my phone. A quick text to her estranged mother, Patricia. "The spare room's ready. I'm Noah, 36 years old, a financial analyst. I live downtown in a condo I bought and paid off long before Olivia came into the picture. It was my foundation built on careful planning. I met Olivia 3 years ago. She was 33, a rising star in public relations. Smart, driven, beautiful. We clicked, or so I thought. We got engaged last year. Life felt solid. I always supported her career, celebrated every milestone, cheered her on genuinely. About 6 months back, she landed a huge promotion, started pulling in $120,000 a year. I was proud of her, took her out to celebrate. But something shifted then. She started talking less about us and more about her image, her brand leveling up. The spending increased. Designer labels, expensive weekends I wasn't always invited to. Then came the Vipers. That's what I called them privately. A group from her networking circle, mostly divorced, all preaching this aggressive gospel of female empowerment that sounded a lot like bitterness and entitlement. They met for pricey wine, complaining about ex-husbands and patriarchal structures, while Olivia picked up the tab. Their language started seeping into our conversations. Suddenly, my paying for dinner wasn't generosity, it was infantilizing. My reminding her about car maintenance wasn't helpful, it was financial control. My stable, supportive presence apparently became an anchor holding back her glorious ascent. There were red flags looking back. Like when she skipped my family's Thanksgiving because the Vipers were doing an impromptu empowerment spa day. Or when she casually mentioned needing a partner whose social standing matched her trajectory. Little cuts, paper cuts adding up. I tried talking about it, but she dismissed it as my insecurity, my inability to handle her success. It all led up to that engagement party. Standing there, hearing her publicly frame me as inadequate, as some kind of fragile relic threatened by her shine. It wasn't anger I felt. It was clarity. A cold, hard realization that the woman I planned to marry didn't respect me, maybe never really had. It was game over. We're often taught that strength means confronting, arguing, fighting to win. But there's a different kind of power, a quieter one. It's the strength to choose not to engage. The silent exit isn't defeat. It's the strategy of someone realizing the game isn't worth their energy anymore. When I said, "You're right," and decided to act instead of argue, I wasn't surrendering. I was taking away her biggest weapon, the conflict she craved, the drama she needed to feel validated. By refusing to play her game, I rendered her insults hollow and shifted the focus entirely to my next move. Cite 1983. It's a paradox sometimes. The only way to win is to refuse the fight. You calmly walk away from the board, taking your king, your self-respect, with you leaving the opponent alone with the mess they created. That night, while Olivia slept soundly in the master bedroom, likely dreaming of her independent future, I was in the spare room setting the board. First, an email to my lawyer, Ethan. Subject: Initiate Separation Protocol. Body: Engagement party confirmed everything. Proceed as discussed. Details follow. Sent. Next, the wedding vendors. The planner, the rooftop venue, the ridiculously expensive caterer. I spent 2 hours on the phone, calm, polite, invoking cancellation clauses. Managed to recoup about 40% of the deposits. Still a loss, but better than funding a wedding that wasn't happening. That's a little tip: always read the fine print on those contracts before You signed them. Saved me thousands, then finances. Logged into my brokerage account, the one holding the $750,000 in investments I'd built before. Olivia transferred the bulk of it into a newly opened individual account she had no visibility into. It wasn't hiding money. It was securing what was always mine, something she never even knew existed, because her version of independence never involved asking about my financial foundation. There wasn't anger anymore, just a cold, quiet efficiency. The hope I'd held onto that maybe she'd see reason had shattered during that toast. Now it was just about executing the next logical steps, protecting myself. Finally, the most important call. Patricia, Olivia's mom. Olivia hadn't visited her in months, complained she was draining and stuck in the past. Patricia lived alone in a rough part of town, barely scraping by on Social Security. I called her. Patricia. I started, Olivia and I are separating. It's final. I heard her take a breath. Oh, Noah, I'm so sorry. Don't be, I said. But listen, the condo is mine. Always has been. How would you feel about moving into the spare room, rent-free, of course? Safe building closer to things. She started crying, then relief mixing with sadness. Are you sure, Noah? Olivia will? Olivia's choices are her own. I cut in gently. This is about you. You deserve better. I booked the movers for 8 a.m. the next morning while Olivia was scheduled for her usual Sunday Viper brunch. The move was quick, efficient. By 11 a.m., Patricia was in the spare room unpacking a small box of photos, looking around like she couldn't quite believe it was real. We ordered coffee. For the first time in months, the condo felt peaceful. Then, around 4 p.m., I heard her key in the lock. Olivia was home. Olivia walked in, dropped her designer tote bag, and froze. Patricia was arranging a small vase of flowers on the entryway table. Olivia's eyes narrowed. What, she said, her voice dangerously low, is she doing here? I stepped out from the kitchen. Patricia, she's my new tenant. I held up the simple lease agreement we'd signed. $1 a month, perfectly legal. Olivia snatched it, glanced at it, then threw it on the floor. Tenant in my house, get her out, Noah. Now. Actually, I said, keeping my voice level, it's not your house, Olivia. Her head snapped towards me. What did you say? Check the deed, I continued calmly. This condo was bought and paid for by me 5 years before we even met. Your name isn't on it. It never was. I saw the flicker of realization, then pure fury. You planned this, you? Before she could launch into another tirade, I placed a manila envelope on the table. And these are for you. Separation papers. Her anger instantly dissolved into something else. Panic. She stared at the envelope, then at me, her face pale. You can't be serious. I am, I confirmed. It's over, Olivia. She scrambled for her phone, dialing frantically. I heard her voice high-pitched, almost hysterical. Sophia, he's kicking me out. He moved my mother in. He says the condo isn't mine. Yes, half of everything, alimony too. He owes me. I watched her pace, the self-proclaimed independent woman, suddenly desperate, grasping at assets she hadn't earned, relying on threats. Patricia sat quietly on the sofa, watching her daughter. Her expression a mixture of sadness and resignation. The contrast was stark. One radiated manufactured confidence built on entitlement, the other quiet strength forged through hardship. Sophia, Olivia's lawyer, didn't waste time. By Tuesday, Ethan forwarded me her official demand letter. It was everything Olivia had screamed about. 50% equity in my condo, 50% of my premarital investments, $5,000 a month in alimony. It was delusional. Ethan's response was sharp and immediate. Ms. Thompson, he pointedly used her maiden name, was a guest in Mr. Miller's premarital property. She contributed nothing to its equity or his premarital assets. Given her current salary of $120,000, any alimony claim is frivolous. Our counteroffer is a one-time payment of $15,000 for her to vacate peacefully. Olivia predictably was outraged. She texted me, directly violating the lawyer communication channel. 15,000. That's an insult. I'll see you in court. You'll regret this. I forwarded the text to Ethan. His reply, excellent. Let her dig her own grave. By the way, did you secure that additional leverage we discussed? I texted back. Got it loud and clear. Mediation felt like walking into a sterile battlefield. Neutral territory, a polished conference table, water bottles sweating under the fluorescent lights. Olivia arrived looking like she'd stepped out of a magazine, flanked by Sophia. Her confidence felt brittle, too bright. Ethan and I sat opposite, calm stacks of documents neatly arranged before us. Sophia started strong, painting Olivia as a victim. She spoke of Olivia's supposed career sacrifices for our relationship. Sacrifices I couldn't recall. She mentioned the immeasurable emotional labor Olivia had invested. It was quite the performance. Ethan let her finish. Then he began, his voice even methodical. Regarding the division of assets, he started sliding a copy of the condo deed across the table. As you can see, the property was purchased solely by Mr. Miller 5 years prior to the relationship commencing. It is non-marital property. Sophia waved a dismissive hand. Improved with marital funds? Actually, no. Ethan countered, sliding over years of bank statements. 100% of mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, and all documented improvements were paid directly from Mr. Miller's personal premarital accounts. Ms. Thompson contributed 0 towards these assets. He paused, letting that sink in. Her contributions were towards shared living expenses like groceries and utilities, proportional to her previous income, which Mr. Miller significantly subsidized. Next came the investment portfolio. $750,000. Ethan stated, placing the brokerage statements down. Again, entirely premarital, meticulously documented. Sophia started shifting in her seat. Olivia's confident mask began to crack. As for Ms. Thompson's claims of emotional labor and intent, Ethan paused. He leaned forward slightly, looking directly at Olivia. The room felt tight, expectant. 2 seconds of silence hung in the air. Then Ethan tapped his laptop. Perhaps this recording clarifies things. He pressed play. Olivia's voice filled the room, sharp and contemptuous, captured weeks before the engagement party. Just gotta play the supportive fiancé a bit longer. Once that ring is legally binding, half his portfolio is mine. He's such a predictable provider type. Basically a walking ATM. Silence. Absolute deafening silence. Olivia's face was chalk white. Sophia looked like she'd been physically struck. Even the mediator, a seasoned professional, raised a deliberate eyebrow. The carefully constructed narrative of the wronged woman shattered, instantly exposed as a calculated sham. Sophia found her voice first, stumbling over the words. We will accept the initial $15,000 offer. Ethan didn't even glance at her. His eyes were still on Olivia. Offer withdrawn, he said, his voice dropping colder now. New offer 0. Ms. Thompson walks away with her personal belongings and her debts. Furthermore, Olivia pays Noah $5,000 for emotional distress and attempted fraud documented by this recording. Olivia just stared, speechless, trembling slightly. Checkmate. Olivia predictably refused the 0 offer. She stormed out of mediation, still muttering about trials and injustice. Ethan wasted no time. He filed the necessary motions with the court, including the audio recording, as evidence of bad faith negotiation and potential fraud. The fallout was swift. News travels fast in professional circles. Her boss, David, somehow got wind of the walking ATM comment. Perhaps through court filings, perhaps through office gossip. Olivia was called into human resources. A PR executive caught on tape planning to defraud her fiancé. That kind of ethical breach is career suicide. She was fired the following day. Suddenly, Olivia found herself without a job, her 6-figure income gone. And just like that, the vipers vanished. The calls stopped. The supportive texts dried up. The invitations to wine nights ceased. Her sisters in empowerment evaporated the moment her status and ability to foot the bill disappeared. It's fascinating, really, how quickly certain social circles collapse. There's a concept called social capital. Some of it is built on genuine trust and affection, the kind where a friend offers you their couch, no questions asked. But Olivia's network, it was built almost entirely on what sociologists call bridging capital, connections based on surface-level benefits, image, and mutual gain. The Vipers weren't her friends. They were transactional allies. When the perceived benefits, her status, her ability to host her potential connection to my money, disappeared, the connections simply dissolved. There was no loyalty to betray. The transaction had merely ended. Then came another little twist. Emma, one of the Vipers, maybe the quietest one, contacted Ethan anonymously. She forwarded him screenshots of a group chat from before the engagement party. In it, Olivia wasn't just venting. She was bragging, detailing her plan to secure the bag through marriage, mocking my naive generosity. Emma apparently had her own reasons for turning on Olivia, but her betrayal added another nail to Olivia's coffin. Facing mounting legal fees, no income, and zero support network, Olivia finally buckled. Her new lawyer advised her to sign the papers before Ethan pursued further damages. She walked away with nothing, just her clothes, her personal items, and a mountain of debt. Eviction day was quiet. She arranged for movers herself this time. No Vipers, no drama. She just left. Meanwhile, Patricia blossomed. Safe, secure, she reconnected with Olivia's father, Richard. He called me actually to apologize profusely for his daughter's behavior, admitting he'd known for years how manipulative she could be. Patricia started taking art classes, joined a book club. She seemed lighter, happier than I'd ever seen her. And me, I changed the locks again, just to be safe. The condo felt lighter, too cleansed. The quiet wasn't lonely. It was peaceful. I started focusing on myself, hitting the gym, reconnecting with old friends. I even started dating again cautiously. Met a landscape architect named Isla at a charity gala. She's grounded, laughs easily, and believes relationships are built, not leveraged. It's a refreshing contrast. Looking back, the whole ordeal feels surreal. But the victory wasn't really about the money or the condo, or even seeing Olivia face consequences. We often judge decisions by their outcomes. If I hadn't had those recordings, if the house hadn't been solely mine, would walking away still have been the right move? Absolutely, yes. The real win wasn't keeping my assets. It was the moment I chose my self-respect over tolerating blatant disrespect. That decision, that act of preserving my own boundaries and dignity, that was the victory. The legal and financial outcomes were just confirmation. The real checkmate happened the moment I said, "You're right," and decided to leave the game. So what did I learn from all this? I guess it's that true strength, real independence, isn't about shouting how powerful you are or trying to control the people around you. It's quieter than that. It's about controlling yourself, knowing your own worth, and having the courage to calmly walk away from situations and people who fundamentally disrespect you. You don't need to win the argument. You just need to honor your own boundaries. I'm curious. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had to make that tough call, choosing between trying to fix something broken or making the strategic decision to cut your losses and walk away? Let me know your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales of strategic checkmates and finding strength in difficult situations. And click here to watch the next story.